Have you ever been part of one of those big company initiatives? It starts with all this fanfare, all this energy, and then just a few months later, it kind of fizzles out. It's a super common story, right? But it absolutely doesn't have to be the ending. Today, we're going to look at a blueprint that can flip that script and turn change from a huge headache into a real engine for success.
We have all been there. Leadership announces some massive transformation. There's new software, new processes, the whole shebang. But fast forward 6 months, and what's really changed? Well, mostly that everyone's just more annoyed than they were before. It's a story we know all too well, but believe me, the ending can be totally different.
So what gives? Why is this so hard? Why do even the most logical, well-thought-out changes just fail to get off the ground? Well, it turns out the answer usually isn't about what we're trying to change, but all about how we're going about it. You can kind of think of it like there are two paths change can take. Over on the left, you've got the old way, right? The top-down mandate. It's rigid, it's impersonal, and it's pretty much a recipe for resistance. But then look to the right. There's a much better way. One that's inclusive, that's adaptive, and that actually gets people excited because it's designed around them, the people who are actually affected. Okay, so how do we get on that better path? It all starts with a really big shift in how we think about this stuff. We need to stop just managing change and start actively designing it with people right at the heart of the process. So human-centered change, it's more than just a cool-sounding phrase. It's really a promise to align any new initiative with the real, actual needs of your employees and your customers. And here's the most important part. You're not doing change to people anymore. You're designing it with them. That simple switch makes the whole thing feel purposeful, and it makes everyone feel included. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually pull it off? Well, the good news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a proven toolkit we can borrow from the world of design. It's called design thinking, and for our purposes, we can boil it down to 3 key principles for success. It all comes down to these 3 simple but really powerful steps: empathize, prototype, and iterate. And you shouldn't think of this as a straight line. It's much more like a continuous cycle. So let's start at the beginning with the absolute foundation: empathy. Yep, everything kicks off with empathy. And I don't just mean sending out a survey and checking a box. No, this is about getting in the trenches and genuinely listening to people to understand their daily frustrations. It means, maybe shadowing a sales rep on their calls or sitting with an accountant during their crazy month-end close to see where things are really breaking down. This is what makes sure the change you're designing is actually gonna solve a real problem.
So once you really get the problem, you prototype. Now, don't get hung up on the word. A prototype doesn't have to be some complex piece of software. It could be as simple as sketching out a new workflow on a whiteboard, or maybe role-playing a new customer service script. You could even just try a new meeting format for a week. The whole point is to create a small, low-risk experiment together that makes the idea real and gives everyone a sense of ownership.
And finally, you iterate. Look, no prototype is going to be perfect on the first try. That's a given. So you take what you learned from your small experiment, you gather that real feedback, and you use it to make things better. This constant loop of trying something, getting feedback, and making it better, that's what makes the whole process so flexible. It's the engine that keeps the momentum going for the long haul. Okay, so you've done the work, you've embraced empathy, you've prototyped some solutions, and you've iterated based on feedback. So what? What's the actual payoff? Let's take a look at the real, measurable impact this human-centered approach can have. The results are honestly pretty amazing. When people feel like they've been heard and they're actually part of the process, resistance just naturally melts away, and engagement goes through the roof. This creates a culture where people feel safe to try new things, to experiment, to innovate. And all of that together, that's what drives real, lasting success, not just some quick fix. And just look at this. The difference is night and day. With a traditional top-down approach, you could see as much as 75% of your team, 3/4 of your people pushing back. But when you switch to a human-centered approach, that resistance plummets. Why such a huge drop? It's simple. The change isn't some scary thing being forced on them anymore. It's a solution they actually helped build. It becomes their change. So this isn't just some abstract theory, It's a practical blueprint you can actually use. The real mental shift is moving away from thinking about rolling out a change to thinking about solving a problem together. When you boil it all down, it comes to this. This isn't about a single launch or a project that has some finish line. The real goal here is to continuously co-create solutions and then use that shared energy to keep the momentum going. That's how you build an organization that's truly ready for anything. So, I'll leave you with a question to think about. As you're looking ahead to your next project, your next initiative, just ask yourself this: what is one small thing I can do to make this next change just a little bit more human-centered? It could be as simple as having one more conversation, sketching out a rough idea, or just asking for feedback a little earlier than you normally would. That one small step could really make all the difference. Thanks for tuning into This Explainer.